This is an NBC News special report. Here's Lester Holt.
Good afternoon, everyone. We're coming on the air with breaking news from Wall Street. A steep drop in the stock market today. The Dow is down just a little less than 800-point range at the closing bell, in large part because of renewed concerns over President Trump's trade war with China. CNBC's Sue Herrera is tracking all this for us. A 3% loss in all the indices. What's behind all this, Sue?
You hit it right on the head, Lester. Basically, the market is worried that the trade war that we have going on between the U.S. and China is not receding. As a matter of fact, it seems to be ratcheting up. Even though the president has said he has come to some sort of an agreement with China, the market isn't sure that it's any different than what we saw last week. That has led to worries about global growth. Will it continue or not? All of that hit the Dow Jones Industrial Average, the S&P 500, which is a broader market index, and the NASDAQ very hard, down almost 800 points on the Dow, almost 90 points on the S&P, and 283 on the NASDAQ. The trade deal with China is the key for the market, but it's not the only factor affecting stocks today. Interest rates, the difference between short-term rates and long-term rates, the 2-year note and the 30-year, which you use to get a mortgage, that's been narrowing, and that usually indicates a slowdown in U.S. economic growth. Add to that the fact that the stock market is closed tomorrow in remembrance of President Bush, and all of that led to kind of a selling frenzy in the market today, Lester.
And we note the closing bell sounded about a minute and a half ago. Those numbers you're looking at will fluctuate a bit, but
yes,
essentially down around 800 points. Sue, thanks. Let's bring in NBC's Hallie Jackson at the White House. Hallie, this is apparently built on somewhat of the notion the White House may have oversold what it accomplished in that meeting with China.
You got that right, Lester. And if investors wanted to hear reassuring words from the White House or from the president today, they really didn't get it. You started the day with Treasury Secretary Steven Mnuchin coming out and talking about if the negotiations come through and if there is a real agreement that's made with China on trade wars. And those two ifs, not something that investors were looking for. And then later in the day, President Trump tweeted, "I am a tariff man," essentially threatening to slap those tariffs back on Beijing if, in fact, he and President Xi cannot come to terms over the next 90 days. Now, White House officials do point to that 3-month period to say, hey, we have some time. We are trying to work something out. But that is a little bit of a different tone than what we heard initially as the president was coming back from the G20 in Argentina. I was on Air Force One when the president told reporters that this was an incredible deal. And if it goes through, possibly one of the biggest deals ever made. So overselling it, perhaps, Lester, and that's what you're seeing reflected in the stock markets. Remember, this is a president who really likes to tout when the markets are doing well. He likes to point at the strength of the economy as an indication of his own strength he sees as president. Of course, there's always the caveat. If you're going to sort of tie your wagon when the markets are up, that happens when the markets go down as well. We're asking the White House for more reaction, and we'll bring it to you as soon as we get it, Lester.
Yeah, things work both ways. All right, Hallie Jackson at the White House. Thank you. Full details on this and all the day's other developments when we see you for NBC Nightly News. I'll see you then. And for now, I'm Lester Holt, NBC News, New York. Good day. Hey, NBC News viewers, thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking on that button down here and click on any of the videos over here to watch the latest interviews, show highlights, and digital exclusives. Thanks for watching.